Now we are starting our first session of today, which is on youth empowerment. For this, I would like to call Dr. Daisy William from Australia, ELCIOS Director and Academic Leader in English Language Instruction at Excelsior College, Australia.
Good morning, everyone. I hope the students who are our VIP today and yesterday, that you're taking back a lot of information and a lot of ways how to research, because, you know, step by step, research in academia is a different field altogether, and it's important that you get it right. I wish you all the best. Today is the last day, so I hope you get something out of it. Seven. Yeah, next. Okay, I'm the ELICOS. You heard ELICOS. ELICOS stands for English Language Intensive Course for Overseas Students. So in Australia, ELICOS is a pathway course to higher education, and it is highly regulated by the government. It's highly regulated. So in my university, we launched it only in October 2023. Now, today we're going to talk about South Asian students in my university. 99% of our students are from South Asia. So they come from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, India. You know, we do have, maybe I've exaggerated, maybe about 95%, but everywhere in the college you see they are South Asian students. Okay? Now, let's just look at Pakistan here. So just in last year, January to September, we had 23,449 students from Pakistan in Australia, Australian higher education. Percentage, when you look at Pakistan here, used to be 3% the year before, 5% last year. So it's growing. Now, coming back to the English language school, so I'm the head of the school of ELICOS. Now, what do we teach in ELICOS? People think that because it's an English language program that we only teach English language. So for proficiency purposes, but actually we prepare students into higher education. So we focus also on critical thinking and academic skills. So one of the areas that South Asian students, and actually a lot of international students find, is going from one cultural academia to another cultural academic situation. So in the Western world, in-text citations, referencing, paraphrasing, giving credit to the original idea, all those are very important, and they can't just cut and paste, they can't just use AI, especially because AI generates false information, because it, when you put something in a question, it can actually generate fake information. So how do you detect if a student is using AI? One of the ways is you check their references. That reference is not an authentic reference. It doesn't exist in the real world. So although we often use AI to encourage students to use it ethically by giving them activities in class, however, for assessments, it is so heavily guarded, and there's huge knowledge sharing amongst Australian universities. So if we have a workshop on AI, we open it to others. So there's a lot of knowledge sharing how to manage AI in higher education. Now, Australia has this thing called ELICOS Standards 2018. Every ELICOS center, like ours is an ELICOS Center for Higher Education. There are some English language centers that students just go to learn English. Now, in those cases, they are also regulated by ELICOS Standards 2018. So the director has to be highly experienced and highly qualified, and then the teachers, they must be mentored, the students, how their assessment has to be carried out, how their attendance has to be regulated, is very clearly spelled out, and they check. And only when we are able to show the government that this is how we're going to run the course, then they give us a course number. Even then, they will send their course professors to check. So last year, the government sent 2 course professors, and they came to check our ELICOS course, whether students are genuine students or are they there to work. So it's very highly regulated. Next, please. So you can see, they have, even literature says Australian higher education is, ELICOS is highly regulated. Now, students cannot do a blended course. They cannot do, unlike higher education, they can for degree. But this is a pathway course. You must do 20 hours face-to-face. You can't do 10 hours face-to-face and 10 hours online. Students have to be seated in the class. And then students are required to attend 80% of their classes. Now, if their attendance drops 85 to 89%, then my admin person will send a warning letter, first warning letter. Then in the letter it says the teacher is to counsel the student. And then when the attendance drops 80 to 84%, a second warning letter is sent, and again I'll be notified, and then I counsel the student. If the attendance drops below 80%, it doesn't sit in my school anymore, it's university-wide. The compliance officer will write to the student and say, you have 20 days to appeal, we're going to report you. So then their visa will be cancelled if their appeal is not satisfactory. So the government spells out what type of appeal we can accept. It must be compelling and compassionate reason. For example, their father passed away. It is a compassionate reason they couldn't attend class. If they were sick, they give a medical certificate. So, but they have to evidence it. So if their father passed away, they have to show a funeral notice. So it's very regulated. Assessments, there are formative and summative assessments every week. 2 assessments a week, and then the admin person will send me a report. On Monday, I check every student's assessment. If the student is going to another ELICOS course, they must get an average of 50%. If they are going into higher education after the ELICOS course, they need to get 70% average mark. Now, then I do a cohort study. Now we leave ELICOS aside. Now the graduates of ELICOS go into higher education. They go to a different school, School of Business, School of Education, whatever it may be. What I then do is, in their first semester in higher education, I have to check their grades for every unit to see how they are progressing compared to those who didn't do ELICOS and just got in with enough English. So the ELICOS course is those who don't have enough English to start higher education. But Some students have enough English, and a lot of our South Asian students speak really well, and they may have done their IELTS course. And then they go into higher education straight without going into School of Elikos. So in their first semester, I checked the graduates' mark, compare it with those who went directly into a unit. Why do we need to do that? It's governance and compliance requirement, and we want to see if the quality of our Elikos course. Research question, during the study, there were 2 research questions. Did graduates of Elikos program perform better, worse, or comparable to direct entry students? What measures can the college or university implement to further enhance the academic performance of Elikos graduates? Now, this was, again, like yesterday's presentation, a mixed methodology. So I started with numbers followed by quality. First line of inquiry. So what does literature say? Because this is a research, you must base it on literature. Now, look at this. Studies have emphasized the value of monitoring student progress to enhance the effectiveness of Elikos interventions. Customized tracking tools were created for each program, resulting in notable improvement in assignment performance and unit completion rate. So literature already says that. You know, so, and that's how we do. If a student, week 1, week 2, you know the marks are very low, then I instruct the teachers to intervene. They give them specific exercises to do to bring their skill level up. So that was the first literature for the first line of inquiry. You can see when I did my study, because we only launched in October 2023, this is the first year results. Out of 47 students, we were such a small school. We were the newest school. We are still the newest school, but fast growing, and I'll explain later. So the first year, only 47 students. 23.40% of the students performed better in all 4 units in their first semester. That means these students who didn't have enough English, who joined higher education, and then those students who had good IELTS score and joined the same course, our students, so in Australia, to be an international student, you have to do 4 units, meaning 4 subjects. 23.40% of our students performed better than those who had enough English. 25.50% of the students performed better in 3 of the units. 21.30% of the students performed better in 2 units. And it goes down. This is the part that I have to investigate what happened. So 12.80% of the students perform worse in all 4 units. Although it's a good result story, because if you add up this, it's more than 70% of our students did better in 2 or more units. And it's a good story, happy story. But that's not what my concern is. I'm going to look at these students. I need to find out why they did worse. Now, we had to survey. I'm going to bring the second line of inquiry, which is the survey. What does research say? Students play a crucial role in the success of any institution. Without you guys, we don't have a job. So you play a very important role. In addition to student progress and job placements, their satisfaction level are a major indicator of college overall performance.